Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Mike Ehrenberg. Welcome to the Microsoft Business Applications Summit. We're here to talk today about Business Central. I'm joined by Mike Morton. Our shelter-in-place locations up until a few days ago were actually less than a mile apart. But this morning I'm in Seattle, and this evening Mike Morton is in Denmark. We're really happy to have the opportunity to talk to you today about the latest and greatest for Business Central. I've had the honor over the last couple of years to lead the Business Central team. Using old in whatever context you want, I am the old Dynamics 365 Business Central GM. And I'm incredibly happy to introduce to the people that haven't already met Mike Morton, who is our new Business Central GM. And Mike, take it away.
Yeah, great. So I'm really excited to be the GM for Business Central and joining the Dynamics family. I am new to the group, but I'm not new to Microsoft. I've been at the company for about 24 years. Most of that time spent on SharePoint and Office. And as Mike said, I did just move to Copenhagen. You might notice my surroundings are a bit odd. The cable folks are not all that quick here either, and so I don't have internet access in my apartment yet. So I'm in a hotel with very few people staying there, so I believe the bandwidth should be pretty good. Anyway, I'm excited here to talk about Business Central. Let's go to the next slide. So Business Central, for folks hopefully don't know, is it's a single solution for running your business. It really is optimized for sort of small and medium businesses, and that's a pretty big spectrum. You know, we really want to have a product that will work and really have the simplicity, the ease of use that people want to run kind of the smaller and medium businesses, while also having the power to grow with your company, having that flexibility to be customized, to be optimized for your processes, for the way that you really sort of work. And as part of the solution, there's sort of three things that really make Business Central unique. Beyond, at its core, we think we have a really best-in-breed business applications. But there are a couple of things that we really think sort of make Business Central special. The first is that it's cloud-based. We've had offerings from Microsoft before, and we still do, that run on-prem. But being in the cloud, we really think is a game changer. The fact that you don't have to manage a service, you don't have to update it, you don't have to worry about OS upgrades. Certainly in this COVID environment, not having to worry about going to the office and patching a server because of an operating system or something along those lines. But also in terms of new capabilities, our ability to integrate with services, our ability to sort of update, respond to customer feedback. We really think it's going to be a really new, exciting era with sort of a services-based versions of our small and medium business applications, business apps. Of course, being built on top of Azure is also sort of a real foundation for us. Azure has absolute world-class scalability, security, global availability. When you're using Business Central, we know your businesses absolutely depend upon having kind of a very great, reliable service. And since we're built on Azure, we're going to have data centers in your region. We know they're going to be reliable. They're going to have respect for privacy, security, and in a lot of ways, a lot of the things that you might have had to think about before on-prem, with being a cloud service and with Azure powering it, just kind of goes away. You can just sort of count on it working and concentrate on doing your business and what's important in your organization. And sort of the last one is really the integration with the rest of Microsoft. We know people use multiple tools in their job. People use Office, people do email, people use apps on their phone. And we're really doing a lot of work to make sure that we have a great experience that really spans that. So whether you're using, Outlook and Excel, or whether you're using Power BI or the Power Platform or other Dynamics experiences, really making sure that we have our workflows really match your workflows. And so the way that you work in your business, we want to make sure it can adapt and you can work the way you want to work, and really, again, sort of focus on getting your business done as efficiently as possible. So kind of going on to the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about the momentum that we have with Business Central. So we're really excited. We have Business Central's been around for just 2 years. Now, of course, we've had Dynamics Nav, which is sort of the forebearer of Business Central and what its kind of its heritage. And that's been around for a long time. At Business Central, in just sort of 2 years, we've gained about 6,000 customers. They've gone from sort of 0 to 6,000 customers at a pretty high growth rate, at 250% year-over-year growth. I know exponential growth is a thing that's sort of talked about a lot these days, and we're really experiencing what that means in terms of having a lot of customers coming onto our product. And that last one I want to talk about is 650 apps on AppSource. This is really sort of a key thing. We know that a lot of people depend on ISVs and solutions to really run their business, to have the experiences, the customizations, the solutions for their country, their industry, their application. And we've worked very hard to make sure that the broad range of solutions that we had in sort of the great Dynamics ecosystem, our Dynamics Nav ecosystem, have now been brought into the cloud as part of Business Central. And so those numbers are really fantastic. And it's not just about the numbers. If you look here, you'll see it's not just at 650. The absolute top ISVs, the ones that have the most complicated, are the most sophisticated, the highest usage, most mission critical ISVs are out there. Hopefully some of you guys recognize these names as some of the biggest Nav ISVs, and they're now up and running on Business Central. And so, if you've been thinking about, should I move to the cloud? There shouldn't be any blockers. Your ISVs and apps should be there, the performance should be there, the scalability, the user experience. We really believe now is the time to move to the cloud, and that we have the experiences really ready for you. And it's not just about existing ISVs that we have in sort of the existing Dynamics Nav ecosystem. We really want to bring and expand the family that we have in Business Central. So we've actually worked with a bunch of great partners. A good example is Copus and AvidXchange. Both of them have built solutions that really help people migrate from sort of other solutions. So that might be a GP or SL, other solutions that we have from Microsoft. It might be competitive products. It might be more traditional ways of sort of working, and using the jargon, using commands, using UI, using processes that are sort of familiar. So when people onboard to Business Central, they can do it quickly and in sort of a familiar fashion. So we're really excited about Business Central, not just being sort of an evolution for folks coming from Dynamics Nav, but really from coming in the full family of sort of Microsoft and non-Microsoft business applications. So now I'm going to hand it over to Mike, and he's going to talk a little bit about what we accomplished in Wave 1. Thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Thanks a lot, Mike. So we have a really amazing release in Wave 1 of Business Central, which landed on time in April. And there are hundreds of new capabilities in the release that we're really excited about. There's a lot of them you just can't even see. The work that we've done around performance, faster page loads, taking advantage of the Azure read-only secondaries to speed report rendering and take the load of report rendering off the rest of the system. But what I'd like to do is just highlight 4 of the capabilities that we're really proud of that are part of this release. I would suggest going to the Business Apps Release Plan site, where you can see the full detail on everything that's part of the Spring Wave. First, I want to talk about bank reconciliation. This is an area where we received consistent feedback that we had the opportunity to make some real improvements. And we feel great about what we've delivered now. We'll continue to fine tune this, but a lot simpler way to let users in bank reconciliation get to the places where they're looking at exceptions more quickly, that they have a better overview, as well as the ability to get some great new reports so that they turn this process into a much simpler, much more streamlined experience. The second thing is just around mobile accessibility. And one of the big focuses for us with every release is around what we call productivity. And it's essentially just doing everything that we can to make sure that users can get their work done in the simplest, most streamlined, most efficient manner. And so one of the areas where we made great progress this time is around the mobile experience. You can see beautiful experience taking advantage of the right landscape on the tablet or layout on the phone, and flowing everything quite naturally to take best advantage of the device, as well as optimizing for example, on the phone, the way you use the way you use your fingers, the way you use the phone, to just give a simpler, more streamlined experience, and then making more data available. So, for example, keeping the fact boxes visible. So great new progress around mobile experience for Business Central. The next one is one I'm really excited about, and this is around the Common Data Services integration. So getting the visibility of Business Central data in a common data service is the thing that opens up things like Power Apps and the ability to build great solutions with Power Platform working in concert with Business Central. And so we have done a bunch of cool things that you'll see. For example, a much simpler experience connecting Business Central to the common data service for your tenant, as well as responding to a lot of the feedback that we got from partners and ISVs about what would make it easier to keep Business Central and common data service connected and in sync. And so here you see a customer record in Business Central, and then that data synchronized and visible in the sales application on top of the common data service, down to even synchronizing the drop-down list values and managing that across the platforms. So great progress today. It's an area we continue to invest in, and you'll see more great things from us here in the future. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is a feature that I love. And actually, this is interesting. This is a feature that really comes from our Dynamics GP heritage. A smart list in Dynamics GP was an end user ability to design simple lists and reports. So an end user can create exactly that list of sales orders that they want to work with for their strategic set of customers. And they can decide what the selection criteria are and what the columns are to show. And they can create that report for themselves. They can share it with others, but they don't have to get a developer involved to go do that. And so we've been hard at work on this feature. It's going to preview in the next couple of months. And it's also a great example of us taking advantage of the Power Platform, because the designer itself is actually built as a Power App. And so it's a great experience that comes. It's been one of the most popular features in the Dynamics GP family. It's now part of Business Central, and I think it's going to bring great capability to everybody that's on the product. I mentioned earlier when I was talking about bank reconciliation that this was a place where we really heard feedback from our customers that said, you know, we value progress here. We really take this very, very seriously. We have a site. You can see the link up in the upper right corner of the screen, aka.ms/BC Ideas. That's our ideas portal. And we invite customers and partners to let us know about ideas, things they'd love to see in the product. And you can also vote on other ideas that are there. And we pay really close attention to the feedback that we get through this channel. And just over the last 2 waves alone, we've delivered 78 items from the ideas portal. We focus on sort of which ones are getting the most votes. So around sort of client interaction, 6 of the top 10 voted features on there have been delivered. And if we look at those 78 features, that represents close to 2,500 votes that we got from customers and partners saying these are things that they wanted. So we're listening, and we encourage you, if you're part of the Business Central community, please take advantage of the ideas portal, vote the ideas that you like, and let us know the new ones that you'd like to see us work on as well. You know, one of the things, and Mike mentioned earlier, that we have a long heritage in the SMB space with multiple solutions in the on-premise world, Dynamics GP, Dynamics NAV, and Dynamics SL. And we've been consistently developing and delivering tools to make it easier for those customers from those products to move to Dynamics 365 Business Central in the cloud. And the April wave is no different. A tremendous amount of progress there. So for our community that's coming from Dynamics GP, Mike mentioned a couple of ISV solutions that are there that really help those customers, and we'll continue to see progress on that front. But with our data migration tools, we're supporting more versions going back to Dynamics GP 2015 and later. We have the ability to bring those customers to Business Central in the cloud. In addition, we're improving the data migration to cover more data and do it in a more natural way. So we have better handling of bringing chart of accounts. We've added support for inventory on hand in specific locations, as well as kind of allowing more fine tuning about how customers and vendors are brought forward. Later this year, we'll do more work around bringing bank reconciliation data from GP, as well as open purchase orders and fixed assets. So we continue to respond to the feedback we get from partners to make these tools better with every release. And I talked about the Smart List Designer. I think that's something that just makes Business Central better, but it in particular really will provide the right kind of landing for people coming from GP, because that's been such a valued feature there. For our customers coming from NAV, we've also expanded the set of versions that we can support migration from. So NAV all the way back to 2015, as well as migration from Business Central version 14 in the on-prem world into the cloud. And then one of the really cool new features that our NAV partners and ISVs are excited about is we've added the ability to take customization that was done at a source code level in NAV and convert that to an extension in Business Central, including the data conversion to the extension table. So really important capability there as well. And then later this year, I'm happy to announce that we'll introduce migration from Dynamics SL 2015, as well as we've got development ongoing for a set of extensions that will make those SL users really find the functionality and the terminology and feel comfortable in Business Central. So you know, if you're running one of our on-premise SMB products, NAV, GP, or SL, we really feel like this is the year to think about moving to Business Central, and got great tools and a great product to make that worthwhile. So kind of at this point, I'm going to turn it back to Mike, but you know, I think one of the things we wanted to do was sort of formally pass the baton. So it was my pleasure and honor to lead the delivery through Wave 1 2020. And with that, I'll hand the baton over to Mike and let him take us home from there.
There you go. So I think a lot of responsibility goes along with this baton here. So I'll just speak quickly about global availability. That's a thing that we're really excited about. We made a bunch of great progress in Wave 1 about expanding our footprint. Of course, we're already quite strong in North America, but we've entered now into Latin America. And so in Latin America, you'll actually see we've entered a couple countries, and we'll be growing there. And then in Europe, which has always been, as well as Asia Pacific, kind of core parts of the Business Central family, we've actually expanded to sort of more countries. And so you'll see quite a few countries that might be a little bit hard to read on the stream, but they're kind of in a teal color versus sort of the white or the green color for sort of the existing regions. And part of the strategy here is we know, we want to expand and be, available to people in these regions, but it's also because we know that companies are global. You might have a company that has, people in various regions, and we want to make sure that Business Central is available wherever our customers are. And so we're going to continue to expand. We really want to cover as much of the world as we possibly can. We're excited at the progress that we've made so far. And on the next slide, we'll kind of show another sort of innovation or another sort of big change around our global experience. You can actually now download more than 35 languages from AppSource and have different languages work in the same instance or a same tenant of Business Central. So for example, if you're a company and you have some German speakers, some Italian speakers, some maybe French speakers, they can now all have a single tenant of Business Central, but have the user experience of Business Central in their native language or in their language of choice. And so this flexibility to have languages be sort of independent of the underlying tenant, we think is really going to sort of satisfy customers and really enable Business Central to be used in sort of new places and environments where we really have a very kind of global citizens in a global world. Kind of just moving on for a little bit, I do want to discuss, we had a fantastic webinar that we did about a couple weeks ago showing Wave 1. It's about a 45-minute demo. It shows all the things that Mike Ehrenberg talked about and the highlights. And if you have some time right now and you're sitting at home looking for something to do, I recommend watching this webinar. It really is fantastic. I got excited really watching it about all the new capabilities in Business Central. Both if you're familiar with the product, you'll see all the new things. If you're not familiar, you'll get kind of a good idea of what Business Central is all about. So I encourage people to click the link, of course, after they've seen the rest of the sessions from today, and really get a chance to see in a lot of depth what Business Central is all about and what's new. And then finally, I do want to spend a couple minutes kind of talking beyond Wave 1. and provide a kind of a little bit of a crystal ball in terms of where we're investing in the future. We really have 4 themes. And the first theme is really absolutely foundational. We want to have the world's best service. We want the service to be something that customers never think about. And so this is a thing that we have a lot of our engineers spending an immense amount of time thinking about. How do we have the performance, the availability, scalability, accessibility? We meet all the compliance issues in the different countries and regions that we run into. We're secure, we're supportable, we let the right telemetry that our partners need to have. And so that when customers are using their product, they're focused on getting their business done. They know Business Central is going to be there, it's going to be up, it's going to be reliable. And for somebody that's worked on big services, SharePoint Online and Office Online, I can tell you this is hard work to build services at scale, and our team is very committed to making sure we absolutely have a world-class service. It's going to be the best experience for you running your applications in your small business. We also really want to invest in delighting customers, and you might not see the word delight all that often in a conversation of business applications. You think, oh, this is functional, this is finance, operations, where's the happiness in that? And really we want to make a concerted effort to make the UI, make the experience, make it fast, make it simple, make it elegant, make it easy to use, make it consistent, make it beautiful. Really ensure that when people are using the product, they're happy, they're enjoying using that product, they have that connection. And so we're going to be working very hard on feedback from customers, really trying to get that usability. Mike mentioned the ideas site. We're listening. We really want to make sure that when people use the product, they're not just getting their job done, they're doing it in a way that's efficient, it's fast, they feel like they're being productive, and really an experience that's enjoyable. That third category, I talked about it briefly at the beginning. Investing across these experiences in the Microsoft ecosystem, we really think is going to be a game changer down the road. And so today, we already have some fantastic experiences. You can get an invoice and an email, and you can approve that or not approve that or send that along in various workflows. So we've done integration with Outlook. Of course, we've had great integration with Excel for years, where you can do data upload or editing data in Excel. We have, of course, amazing integration with Power BI and the Power Platform for people that want to build solutions. Mike talked about CDS as a thing there. And I will sort of hint at Teams. Right now, we're doing a Teams call. We've seen an explosion of use of Teams and the way that people collaborate. And you can really imagine that being sort of the next frontier of where we do integration, where we bring Business Central really to the applications and tools that people spend time in. So whether it be Outlook or Teams or Dynamics or whatever it might be, we really want to make sure that Business Central is sort of part of those processes, part of the core. You're working your in context in the tools that you want to use. And the last theme, it's the last one, but it's a really critical one. Business Central, the business is really, the heart and soul is based on our partners. We know there's a lot of industries, a lot of geographies, a lot of different companies that have different needs, and those partners build amazing solutions that are really customized and optimized for a broad range of scenarios. And so we really want to make sure that we've done all the work that we need around APIs, around extensibility, around telemetry, around enabling partners to not be blocked, to have nothing in their way to prevent them from building the absolute best solution for customers. So if you're a partner out there, we're absolutely committed to taking your feedback, to doing what we can to making sure that you can really build the best solution possible for the customers that you have using Business Central. And so the journey, it's been a great start. We've had a couple great years of growth, and we think that we're going to really have a fantastic next couple of years. I'm really excited to be working together, and thank you guys for being part of this presentation. So now I think we have a few minutes for some Q&A.
We do, Mike and Mike. This is Errol coming to you from the Q&A booth, and we have just a bunch of questions. I'm going to take a few of these that have been highlighted here. So there was a great question around all these features that we were adding to this release, and what's the strategy around on-premise versus cloud and online, and the availability of all these new features?
Yes, so we continue to ship and deliver an on-premise product, and so most of the capabilities that you're seeing will be the same sort of on-premise in the cloud. But we are, to be crisp, the cloud is where you're going to see a lot of the bigger investments going forward. And so today we know that transition is going to take time. We're very, very committed to our on-premise customers. We continue to deliver on-premise products. There may be, of course, in on-premise products, you have features that connect the cloud services, and so that's the thing that you'll have to set up. So the app source experience, for example, that's the thing that's going to be in the cloud service, and it's going to be a little bit different if you're sort of running on-prem. But it is a situation where on-prem is still critical to us. We know large numbers of customers are continuing to run on-prem. We're very, very committed to bringing that forward. But we really do want to encourage folks to look at the cloud. We do think now is the time to make that transition. We have the capabilities, the ISVs and app source. We have the performance. We have the scale. And so it's kind of a sort of a both answer, but we really want to make sure that we're giving kind of good direction. I don't know, Mike, if you want to add to that, but I think quick summary.
Okay, speaking of app source, there was a question that came through about opportunities for new ISV solutions and sort of where do we see those opportunities lying in the next few years?
Yeah, boy, there's a tremendous amount of opportunities in terms of solutions. And I think I would sort of classify sort of horizontal and vertical. So I think you'll find people building solutions that are very broad. I'm trying to build a finance solution that's going to work for a region and might have a bunch of sort of specific things for an industry that you'll repeat over and over. And then you'll find solutions that are about sort of filling specific capabilities. I want to do payroll or credit card processing or tax rate lookups or something along those lines. And so in a lot of cases, you'll see ISV sort of building solutions that kind of add key services and functionality, and you'll see people building, full on, hey, this is a retail solution for using Business Central, or this is a manufacturing optimized solution for Business Central. And so it really is that sort of horizontal and vertical. A lot of these places, they're great partners, and a lot of places there's opportunities for innovation. And so we really want to work with ISVs out there to use their creativity to make the overall ecosystem stronger.
Great. There was a really great question. We talked a bit about sort of transitioning from our on-prem solutions to Business Central. And the question came as sort of, why now? I guess I'll summarize the question as why now? And I know that both of you have thoughts on this.
Yeah, the cloud it's just it's going to be a better experience for everybody. If you're an employee in a business, you're going to have a reliable experience. You know that there's going to be a service that's up and running. If you're an administrator, you don't have to worry about upgrading and worrying about updates and management and code synchronization or anything along those lines. And from sort of our perspective, we're going to be able to provide capabilities to customers more quickly. We're going to be able to update our service, respond to feedback, ensure that we're adhering to the latest regulations and what's sort of going on in the finance community, and there's always sort of laws. And so it's really going to be a win-win-win, kind of regardless of where you are sort of in that chain. And I forgot to even mention, a key one, it will be more cost effective, with we don't want everybody to have to be an expert on running Windows servers and upgrading software. And so in this situation, you really allow our ISVs and partners to concentrate on building great solutions for their environments, the end customers to concentrate on running their business and really being effective, and letting Microsoft worry about how we scale out databases and how many tables that we do, and all the things, and how we upgrade operating systems and a lot of things kind of on the back end. And so it's a little bit of a long-winded answer, but ultimately my experience, and I have a lot of experience with both SharePoint and Office, where we went through similar transitions, and a lot of people asked, hey, with SharePoint, what's the advantage of the cloud? And for many of them, it wasn't obvious until they moved to the cloud. And about a couple of weeks later, after they moved to the cloud, and the first time they didn't have to do an update, or the first time they saw some new functionality light up, you would get an email, you would get something from them really, sort of getting it. And so I think that when customers move to the cloud, the value proposition will be obvious. And so we do have some work to better explain that value proposition. But I think that for many folks, when they get there, it will be very visible right away.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna it's a little bit challenging because Mike already said it was a long-winded answer, but I'm gonna do a really bad thing and add to it. I think there's Mike hit a key point. It lets our customers focus on their business, and we take care of a lot of things that we're taking a bunch of their time. But I think there's three things that I think are that are equally important to add. The first is that we're able to, through our monitoring and telemetry, understand things, for example, as performance is changing. And in a lot of cases, we're able to find things before a customer sees it and correct it without it ever becoming an issue. And that's just a very difficult thing for people to do in an on-premise environment. The second thing, and kind of the first question we got, I think pointed to that a little bit, is we're really starting to do some amazing things connecting to other Microsoft cloud services. And Common Data Service was one example. And there will be always ways for that on-premise customer to do close to the same thing, but in the places where we are using and taking advantage of additional Microsoft services, and so Common Data Service, some really cool things being done in the BI area over the next few years. Machine learning, it's just those things will just be easier for the customer whose system and data is already in the Azure cloud. And then the last one is, for me, is I think one of the things that we've seen, I get to work with a lot of customers, but the conditions of the last few months have been very difficult for everybody. But the customers that were in the cloud and using our modern solutions in the cloud, there were a lot of places where they were just able to have more agility, get capacity where they needed it, and just be responsive to changing conditions in a much more agile way than people who were trying to run out of their own data centers on premise. And I hope we're not dealing with things like this forever, but that sort of agility and ability to respond to very different conditions quickly is just something that I think it's just a lot easier to do that in the cloud. And I think that whole transformation process has accelerated as a result of what we've been going through over the last few months.
Awesome. So just really, really quickly, Mike, parting comments, and then we're off.
Great. I want to thank the audience. I really appreciate your time. And if you're a small and medium business and using Business Central, expect more great things. And if you're not using Business Central, now really is the time to move to the cloud. And so we hope that you join us on the journey. Thank you very much.